Something you will only see on WGXA News. We are your direct connection to our elected officials, taking your questions and concerns to our lawmakers, getting you answers as we connect to Congress. We're joined today by Representative Austin Scott. Mr. Scott, thank you for spending part of your day with us. We wanted to start with the events surrounding the beating death of Tyre Nichols. It's sparking debate again about police reform. What was your reaction when you first saw that video late last week?
Oh, it was horrible. And, you know, even after he was in distress, there was no assistance provided to him. And so I'm glad the body cam footage is there for us to see, you know, just how bad the event was. I mean, the police reform discussion is going to start again. The thing that I want to caution everybody who's watching this on is the issue of qualified immunity. I represent over 50 municipalities, 29 counties. If you take qualified immunity away from the law enforcement officer, or if you take qualified immunity away from the force as a whole, you won't have a police force at all. And so as we do this thing, we need to focus on the small margin of law enforcement officers that are an issue. And I'll tell you, the law enforcement officers that I know, they're mortified by what they saw in these last footages and the death of this young man that happened in Tennessee. So there's a way to get there. You know, the vast majority of our law enforcement officers get up every morning to go out and make sure that they're protecting us and our families and making our lives better. And there's just a small percentage that we need to address. But it was just a horrible situation, and I'm taken back that, especially that nobody provided assistance to him. But the issue of qualified immunity is going to be one of the big issues going forward. And just to understand this, if you take qualified immunity away from the force of the officer, you won't have either one of them.
Yes, sir. Well, moving on, Speaker McCarthy selected you for the House Select Committee on Intelligence. What does that mean for you, and how, if at all, could it benefit Middle Georgia?
Yeah, so first of all, as Republicans, we want to take the Intelligence Committee back to what it's supposed to be, which is a committee that meets and discusses the issues of the intersection between collection, intelligence, and operations. And if any of us are walking up to a microphone after we've had a meeting in the intelligence room, then that is just symbolic of not doing your job. And so over the last several years with Adam Schiff, they would have meetings behind closed doors, and literally the press would set up outside of the intelligence skiff, and he would walk straight up to the microphones when he left the meetings on the whole Russia hoax issue. So we want to take it back to a situation where we're having serious meetings about the intersection of our intelligence platforms, our ISR platforms, the actual use of that information, and then the operations of that information. As you know, with everything going on in Ukraine, with China's aggression, and things that are happening right here inside the United States, we have a lot to work on. And so looking forward to the Democrats selecting members that will work with us on those issues of national security and take the Intelligence Committee back to what it was supposed to do.
Yes, sir. And we have breaking news that more classified documents are being searched in one of President Biden's residences. Now, those documents have been in the headlines for weeks now, and they've been found connected to former President Trump, President Biden, as well as former Vice President Pence. If you could talk about the security of these documents and your take on how these investigations are being handled.
Yeah, so there's obviously a failure of process here. This is across both parties. As I said before and will say many times, I think you've just got to call it as it is. I think that, you know, President Trump had documents he shouldn't have had. President Biden had documents he should have had. I think Vice President Pence has also had some documents that he shouldn't have had. I think my concern with it is twofold. One is there's obviously a process breakdown in the executive branch that we've got to address and come to agreements on the best way to give our elected leadership the information they need to make the decisions, tough decisions that have to be made, regardless of who the president is. And at the same time, make sure that that information doesn't end up in the hands of people that we don't want to have it. So Brittany, the thing that I have the hardest time with as a Republican in the FBI and seeing how they ran a tactical squad at Mar-a-Lago. Again, a tactical squad was used in a facility that was guarded by the Secret Service in Florida, which was President Trump's residence, and yet they're actually doing it the way they should be doing it with the FBI now, not President Biden's lawyers going in suits and looking for the documents at the Biden residence. So certainly I think the FBI has used a double standard. I think the press, candidly, has had a double standard with their reporting on the issue, and that's just not good for America and our democracy.
Yes, sir. Well, Representative Austin Scott, we appreciate you for your time, and we look forward to catching up again soon.